really shouldn't have been there. So the golden rule of sales is what? 3 golden rules. What are they? Qualify, qualify, qualify. You've got to qualify your sales leads before you invest time in them, because they will take up your time. Remember, you're a builder or a tradesman. You've got all the time in the world that you can give to people for free. Is that true? Yeah. People think that though, right? You can come out and talk to them about their home and plan with them and do that in your time, and your time is endless and free. Of course it's not. So you need to qualify people before you back the ute out of the driveway. You need to have made them jump through a process, which is your sales system, which allows you to weed out the people that you should be investing some time in. Because you want to know that if I'm going to invest my time, I'm likely to convert this person because they are well qualified before we go through the process. So qualified means that they want what I have in my niche and they're ready to buy, and I'm going to invest my time wisely in pursuing that person. When I say pursue, investing my time with them in a sales transaction. So there's 6 steps. We'll run through them. Please write them down, and I hope they're a help to you. The first one is, if a client makes inquiry of you, and they do this of me all the time in both as a business coach and my franchise building business. Clients ring up wanting a service, and my standard response is, look, thank you for calling. So pleased you have. If you can just provide me your email address, I'm going to shoot you over a questionnaire. And what that's going to do, it's going to help me understand exactly what you're looking for. And when I've got the questionnaire back, then we'll make a time and have a conversation. So what have I done there straight away? I've put a qualification in place so that they haven't taken up too much of my time, because my time, like yours, is valuable and important. So I don't want to be an hour on the phone with the first phone call answering all their questions and finding out everything about them. I want them to fill in a questionnaire. Now, is everyone going to fill in the questionnaire? No, they're not. Why aren't they?
They're not that interested.
Exactly. Exactly right. They were just wanting to waste your time. They'd already chosen a builder or a trade. They were going to use you as a price check and then go with their mate. So the questionnaire is doing its job if they're not all filled in. Mind you need to make the questionnaire easy to fill in. Don't make it too difficult. Google Forms is great for this. If you're thinking, Glenn, how do I get a questionnaire in place? Google Forms. You write a little questionnaire, you shoot it through, you can fill it in on your phone, a few clicks, and people can fill in a simple questionnaire. So you're putting a little gatekeeper in there. A AAA grade client is going to fill in the questionnaire and go, yes, of course, look, what a great builder, he's systemised, I'd love to share what I need with him, I'm going to write that down and then I'm going to send it in. And I'm going to be able to do that if I'm a busy professional in some other industry, I can do that in a time that suits me and send it back into the builder. So a good AAA grade client's going to see that as a positive, a tire kicker, it's going to weed them out pretty early. Stick with the questionnaire and don't be spooked if you don't get them all back, because it's doing its job. If in fact you realise that the client has got no tech skills, they can't receive a Google form and fill it in, you'll certainly make exceptions if you know that the person's like that. But in most cases, a questionnaire works well.
And they usually send it back in an email and just say, this is what I want. And that's it.
Yeah, so we've got a questionnaire. Now, on receipt of the questionnaire, you're looking at it to say, well, does this client fit the profile of the sort of person I would like to do business with? Is it in the location I even work? I mean, you can rule some people out like that. You know, I want it done in this suburb, and you're like, well, that's an hour away from me, and I'm busy anyway. I'm just not going to do that work, and so I haven't had to invest an hour on the phone talking to them to find that out. And so without being rude, you simply respond with an email and say, look, I'm so sorry we're not able to help you at this time, but here's the number of someone that can. So instead of it taking an hour, it's just taken you less than 5 minutes to do that whole process to rule them out. If in fact, though, it is someone that's in your niche and looks like they'd be a fit, you're doing a phone interview. In other words, you're calling them, making a time. In my role as a business coach, I do this with a video call because I'm servicing clients all over Australia. I get the client on a video call and they get a sense of what business coaching feels like. They're seeing me, I'm seeing them, it's the right fit. For a lot of you, it won't be a video call, it'll just be a phone call, and that's fine. It loses some of the personality on the phone call, but it's a great place to start. So notice it's a phone interview, and in other words, you're interviewing them for their suitability for your business. You are the prize, remember here. Be careful with that psychology. You are interviewing them to further establish whether they're the right fit for your business. So you're simply drawing on the questions and you're trying to understand exactly what they're looking for and filling in some of the gaps to decide whether to go further with that process. Now, if the phone interview is going well and you're like, yes, I want to take it to the next step with this person, what you're trying to do after that is set a time to see them face to face. Bigger transactions. Now, some of the trade-based businesses, plumbers, electricians, you're not going to do this every time for simple work where they're booking in for a quick, maintenance type work. I'm talking the larger transactions here. So certainly, most of the builders here doing building contracts are going to do this top to bottom. But if you're doing smaller work, then you have a think about the parts you pull out here and apply. So once you've done the phone interview, you're setting a time for a face-to-face, and you're deciding a time at ideally 5 days in the future. 5 days in the future from that call. So you don't want to say, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon on site. If you can help it, you're just trying to give a little bit of distance. About 5 days is right. Now, the 5 days is important because straight after this, we're sending an email that confirms the time. Remember, we're trying to build confidence. So you need to set up processes that you do what you're going to, you say things and then you deliver them. You say and deliver, you say and deliver. So firstly, I've said here I'm going to send a questionnaire, and I do. Then I make a phone call and set a time, and then I follow up with an email confirming the time and attaching sales brochures. Now, this is an example, and I'll pass these around. Examples out of my own business. I need you to know that you can at least match this type of standard with your own marketing, because if you think what your competitors have got in their hands, they've got resources like this. So I'm not showing you this so much for the content as in the type of presentation. Did everyone get something? So you think, I need to send these people something that demonstrates my expertise in that space. And if you have a design magazine, you send it to them. If you have a corporate profile like this one, you send it to them. If you have something that lays out your business, you send it to them electronically initially. Now, who gets emails constantly and never looks at it? I actually have some Facebook marketing where people can download this process and understand how to apply that to the building industry. I call some of those clients, no one ever reads it. So even if you have a beautiful document like some of these are and you send it to people, mostly they won't read it. So you send it nonetheless, but you put a hard copy in the mail. Now, you get a hard copy of something in the mail, it will go on the coffee table and people will read it. And that's why you need a little bit of time between this phone call and the site meeting, because you want to give time to build confidence in your solution by getting this beautiful brochure that you've prepared on their coffee table, and they're reading it and saying, well, look, I didn't know they did that, and look at these beautiful homes. And by the time you've got to the meeting, a lot of confidence has been established. So you're not starting from a zero conversation at that point, because you've sent a hard copy in the mail. Now, that might take 3 days to arrive at the destination. And so they've certainly got it a couple of days if you've got a 5 days later that you're seeing them. Now, the second last step is a phone call to confirm the meeting, to make sure nothing's changed and you're not wasting your time driving out there. But importantly, you email an agenda. Who's ever emailed an agenda for a meeting? Very, very important, because you want to be in control. You want to set the agenda. You want to be on the front foot with this. Believe me, your client has an agenda. They have their own thing they want out of the meeting. And if you want to bring the meeting time into a size that you can control, you send an agenda. Because then simply you say, look, thanks for the opportunity. These are the things I'd like to cover off today, and that's going to help us move forward with your job. And then you talk through those agenda items. At the conclusion of that, you can gracefully bring the meeting to an end and leave. Now, what we're trying to do here is get your valuable time back in control where you're spending it, and the agenda will help. So it's a bit of a Trojan horse, the agenda, because it says you do what you say you're going to do. B, you define then the meeting. So ideally you've turned up with a nice notepad with the agenda items. And if you're someone who maybe your mind wanders a little bit and you can't quite remember all the things you were there to talk about, because they're also someone that's interested in the same hobbies or sport that you are, and the conversation drifts off and on, and then you leave at the end and go, I forgot to find out all the critical things I need to know. An agenda will help you, and it will help them get to an outcome quickly. So you'll look like the professional that you are if you send an agenda and follow it through at the meeting. And then finally, what's the thing we're trying to achieve once we are face to face? You're trying to get the business at that point. You're trying to get a financial commitment of some sort. You're trying to win the work. For builders, it will be a preliminary agreement. As often you're trying to get a preliminary agreement signed to take the work forward. And depending on the scope of works required for trade-based businesses, it could be very similar. You're trying to get the order, basically. So don't go in too cold and hard. You want to build rapport initially. People want to know that you care about them as a person. They want to know that you're interested in their outcomes. And then once you've established some rapport, you move to the agenda and work through it. So these are the 6 steps that are working in the industry right now, and if you adopt them, will help you. The examples, I would like to talk through this example here. If you haven't done a corporate brochure, this is a good example of how to do that well. Don't lead with your brand, lead with your niche. So if I'm looking at this, some corporate brochures I'm seeing the brand is very dominant. That's a mistake. You want to tell the market what your niche is, what solution you can provide. So here I'm seeing this bill as a challenging site specialist. I know that straight away without going in and reading the fine print. So if I don't have a challenging site and I'm looking for the lowest cost home I've got the wrong builder potentially, and I'm not going to waste my time or his. So challenging site specialist, certainly the brand's there, but it's not dominant. You lead with your niche, please. Lead with your niche on your brochures. First, the next thing that's happened here is I've answered the question, why choose my business? So think consumer, very egocentric. They want to know why. What's in it for me? They don't want to know all about your history in the industry, or certainly not initially they don't. They don't want to know how great you are and the awards you've won and everything like that. They want to know what's in it for me. And if you can answer that question on the first page, why choose us, you're likely to get them past the first page. So they've read this and gone, well, great, I can see why I would choose that builder. Long-standing Housing Industry Association member. We offer a fixed price contract, sustainable buildings, all the insurances, selected trade contractors who are skilled and licensed, etc. Like a lot of you guys would have similar reasons, but you need to remember your consumers don't understand that, and you need to tell them why they should choose you. The images are beautiful, taken from display home entries, and that's important. The next thing, a guarantee, a compelling guarantee. Who's got a compelling guarantee? Everyone wants to de-risk everything. You think of the car industry. Who's got the biggest guarantees? The least known brands have the biggest guarantees. If you want your consumers to choose you over someone else, and you want to create a way of them choosing you because there's good reasons to do that, de-risk it. De-risk it with a compelling guarantee. So let's look at some of these. We guarantee the home will be completed on time and within terms of the building contract. We guarantee to communicate with our clients. Every home comes with a 2-part checklist.